This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. If you aren't expecting adult language, why even bother listening? Welcome, my friends, to the Shouldn't Have Rants. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. I'm your host, Jason Iapicco.
I'm Truman, and it's episode 424, Grinding Our Gears.
You know, I really wish we were talking what the episode title was going to be. I could have gotten the Family Guy sound clip.
It's all right.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you know what really grinds my gears? This team.
Yeah. All right, so Red Bulls went down to Atlanta and lost their first ever regular season match against Atlanta United. 1-0. Just not good at all around. Before we get into our thoughts, Truman, do you want to read off the tweets for this one?
Yep, got a few of them here. Let me pull them up. So, at Tunita M says, the more things change, the more they stay the same. As we've already said, the definition of insanity is the New York Red Bulls. At Ruchesco said, where better than an NFL stadium for a Caceres to spank a field to go over a box full of strikers? Seriously felt Smokin' Tolkien's absence in this one. Still not sure about that Club America kit either. Steven Santos said, I watched WrestleMania and the collective. Thank goodness in this game. Man, I was right. Red Bull sucked. And then our good friend Eddie, Pierre Delecta, said, I went to see the GFC and I couldn't escape the pain from either team, but plastering was achieved either way. And then he says, update after watching the replay. If we should fire Struber, we would ask for nothing more. We'll be burning all his spreadsheets after locking all his forums. We'll be using a dog cage to send him back to Austria. The Metro marches on. Who the fuck is Gerhard Struber? I'm not singing that song. It's, you know.
So, yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into our likes and dislikes. Truman, you go first. What did you dislike the most about this one?
I think the biggest problem for this game is they looked completely inept, especially after giving up the only goal of the game, that there was no coming back from it. That was the feel you got, that there was going to be no response, and you were pretty much just going to... What minute did they score in?
It's like the 25th or something like that.
Yeah, you just felt that it was over. And it shouldn't be like that when it's that early in a game. You shouldn't feel like the game's over, but they looked
on a
absolutely
goal against
terrible.
the run and play too.
Yeah. It's just they just looked inept. I'm not even that mad at the goal they gave up. They just didn't look like they wanted to play at that point.
Well, my dislike, and I am going to be upset about the goal because Cornell could have, should have, and could have done more. All right, I'll buy that he probably couldn't catch it, but a shot that's almost head on like that, you got to be able to deflect that towards the side. But you can't just let that deflect right back in front of you.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the reaction was just, I mean, the only reason that goal gets scored is because I think it was Sean Nealis didn't react quicker. If he was thinking about it and reacted quicker, then he probably clears the ball. When we're talking a 0-0 draw at that point. It's you know, for as much as we talk about how good they are defensively because they're averaging like one goal against the game, we're 6 games in and we've given up like what, 5 goals, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've had 1 shutout so far. Like if over the course of a full season you told me it was 1 goal a game, okay, that's great. Over 6 games, no, it's not good. Especially when your team sucks on offense, which we'll get, I guess. No, fuck it. I'm going to go with the second dislike, and that's our offense because we're fucking anemic as hell.
Yeah. bad.
I mean,
it's bad. They take bad shots. They take low percentage shots, which absolutely drives me crazy.
it's not even like the low percentage shots are yielding rebounds, which you could argue at least they're challenging the keeper. No, we're not challenging the keeper. I'm going to bring my other soccer team into this. Fucking Everton, who is literally close to relegation and financial ruin at this point, is playing better soccer than us. And honestly, you know what it comes down to is fucking effort. Like, I think that's what it is. I think there's not as much offensive effort being put in, and it's just screwing with us. I mean, the last few games, I think we've been averaging under 150 passes, which that part itself doesn't matter, but our pass percentage is below 80%. Like, how are we supposed to do anything if we can't string passes together? Like you said, get into better shooting positions. Like, I don't understand what the hell the offense is doing.
No one does. I don't think they understand what they're doing. I think it's pretty clear they don't understand what they're doing.
All right. Likes. Is there anything that you can pinpoint as a like in this match?
You know, our friend Steven Santos said it right that WrestleMania was there to distract some of us. So I do appreciate that because I watched the game on my laptop and I watched WrestleMania on the big TV. So I could have half tuned out as soon as they gave up the goal. I'm like, great. I don't think I told you it didn't feel like they were coming back. So I'm like, cool. I could just have this on in the background and watch WrestleMania.
I guess the fact that Van Zier got 45 minutes.
Sure.
Something. He doubled his average playing time, so there's that, I guess. I don't know if we'll see more than that, but at least it's something.
I mean, it's getting stupid at this point.
And apparently, Struber in a press conference today, and this is courtesy of, let's see, who does he cover? Oh, he's a credentialed journalist covering the Red Bulls in the Union. Gustavo, I'm going to say his name wrong. I'm never going to try. At GDEGUSTAVO83 on Twitter. Shit, of course, right, I hit the wrong button and just lost it. All right. He said, Struber says he will have a chat with Van Zier about if he will start or not against the Quakes, but indicates the Belgian is close to starting the match. It's either he does or doesn't. Why is it close?
Right.
It's not fucking horseshoes.
I just don't get fitness anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
Especially for a forward. I don't get it.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about for this match? I feel like neither of us want to keep going on this one, but
this is going to be my one afterthought, and I think I might have. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, but I'm sure I mentioned on Twitter during a game that this team is better than the record. Unfortunately, they're being coached poorly, especially on offense. The coaching is so poor. The decision making is poor. I don't know who's the answer, but I think if this lineup's at 100% now, it's not because Lewis Morgan, is not there and Tolkien's not playing, and that's a problem with injuries.
Maybe out.
Right. So I mean, those are problems, but I think this team at full strength, coach differently. I think this is a really good team, and unfortunately, we're not seeing those results.
So I think the question has to be asked, right? We're now in full year number 3, right? Because the one game he played the playoffs, it's whatever. Are we close to, if results do not improve, are we close to seeing him being fired mid-season?
I just don't think the Red Bulls care enough to fire anyone mid-season.
I mean, they fired Armis mid-season.
I don't think they care
during the COVID year.
Yeah, I just don't. Personally, I don't see them caring. I think the results would have to be bottom of the league for them to actually do something. I think right now we are just considered, it's a segment, the afterthought of Red Bull Global. So
I mean, we're not that far from the bottom of the conference or the league.
Yeah.
We're only 3 points off. And actually, talking about this reminded me, the Red Bulls, and granted, this is probably a little bit of rose-colored glasses, but the Red Bulls made the wrong mistake 3 years ago in how they hired Struber. I'm not saying Struber would or would not have been a better choice than Bradley Cornell. But given Bradley Cornell taking St. Louis on a 5-game unbeaten run to start the season, and what he has built there and what he did for us in 2020, getting us back into the playoffs after that slog and granted, 2020 was a really weird year to begin with. But with how that team performed at the beginning of the season, he got us into the playoffs. I feel like what should have happened was we should not have bought out Struber's contract for him to sit overseas for 2.5, 3 months, whatever the time frame was, waiting on a visa for him to come in and coach a playoff game and then let Bradley Cornell go.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
What should have happened was you let Cornell finish out the year and you evaluate the coaching situation at that point.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously Red Bull had their minds made up already. That's the problem.
Yeah, and if you tell me that they buy Struber or they buy out Struber's contract and he's here within 2 weeks, then I think, okay, completely different story at that point. And granted, Bradley Cornell was assistant for a while. Like, you don't know how he's going to do as a full coach if he was given the reins in 21.
Mm-hmm.
But I think by buying out Struber's contract and handling things the way they did, they hamstrung themselves. And to a degree, I think they're getting into a sunken cost fallacy here of, well, we've already went this far with him, we have to keep going. Now, I'm not saying he deserves to be fired right this instant, but I think personally, if we don't win these next 2 matches, there should be serious questions about him not being with this team anymore.
When the team's at full strength, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt when the team's playing with every starter they have.
I mean, 2 home matches against teams coming in with negative goal differentials. One of whom is 5th in the West, one is 8th. I mean, these should be winnable games. So that's why I'm saying if we don't win both these games, there should be serious questions asked.
I think there's going to be.
All right. Any other afterthoughts on this game?
No, it sucked.
Yeah. And the pain index reflected it because we were all over the place. So literally, pain levels 1 through 10 had at least 1 vote each, just so we are level setting this.
Good grief.
But we were over the place in terms of where. There was 3 different levels tied. With 17.6% of the votes. That is a pain level of 3, 5, or 8. So very different reactions to this Atlanta loss.
Yeah. Probably because some of us were watching WrestleMania and didn't hurt that bad. And then they saw the very end of WrestleMania and the pain index went way up.
And some of us were watching all the way through because we had to tweet about it after the game.
Yeah. That's real pain right there.
Well, at least I get tape delay pain this week, so I don't have to do the tweet. All right. With that, predictions, no changes because stupid us, we didn't think we could lose.
No, be crazy. Oops.
So Truman's still 2 points, and I am still, after 6 games, sitting here at 0.
2 points and 0 points after 6 games.
Well, your 2 points are like, what, half of what the Red Bulls have at this moment? So.
Yeah, crushing it.
Yep. Hold on, where's the points? Yep. Okay, you're at 1/3 of their point total this year. I don't know how we managed 3 draws, honestly, at this point.
Jay, if you were to sum up the season so far in 3 words, and those 3 words were in a soundbite, what would that soundbite be?
It's fucking embarrassing!
There it is. There it is right there.
Hold on. I'm going to play this one more time for those in the back.
It's fucking embarrassing!
There we go. Now we can move on.
All right. Well, let's hope the Red Bulls do not continue the embarrassing because they are hosting this week San Jose. That game is on Saturday, April 8th. 7:30 p.m. is the coverage start, 7:39 for the kickoff. Like I said, I will not be watching live. I'm doing an early Easter dinner with my family, so at least I'll have some good food in me before I have to watch a possible shit show. San Jose comes in with a 3-1-2 record, 10 points, -1 goal difference, and in their last 5, they have 3 victories, 1 loss, and a draw. So, Truman, what do you think is going to happen on Saturday against San Jose?
Who the fuck knows? I don't know. This team makes absolutely no sense. I have no confidence in them, which you know me, Mr. Confident. There's deservedly none. We don't know what designated players will and won't be playing. So I think, what's it? Hold on, I'm going to check the weather that day, and then I'll give you exactly how disappointing it's going to be. Let's see. It's going to be, I'm bringing it up right now, 55 degrees, so it won't be raining at least when we lose 1-0.
I honestly think I'm at a point where I can't even predict a draw until they can do that. Like, I want to be positive, right? I want to say they can at least draw at home, but I don't honestly even know they can do that. I want to be different because I don't want to say 1-0 lost and we both get points on it. But it's too early in the year for me to be playing that kind of shit. So I think I'm going to agree with you. 1-0 loss. The only thing that this Red Bulls team is good for is not giving them 2 goals, apparently. So
yeah.
I'll say for myself also a 1-0 loss. And then, I don't know, maybe a Struber press conference where he says his players didn't try hard enough again.
Yeah.
Apparently the only thing that's constant in life are death taxes and Struber's press conferences.
No.
All right. Well, at least some New York Red Bulls team got some points. New York Red Bulls 2 technically won their match against Atlanta United 2. It was 1-1, but they won 5-4 in penalty kicks. So that puts them at a 1-1-0 record, 3 points, 0 goal difference, number 7 in the East for MLS Next Pro. Their next match is this Sunday, April 9th, versus Crown Legacy FC, which is the name for Charlotte. So apparently Charlotte FC 2 is not sufficient.
Okay.
That game is at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The Gotham FC unfortunately dropped their home opener 2-0 to OL Reign. Their next match is on Saturday, April 15th, so they have off this week. They will be down at the Orlando Pride, 7 p.m. kickoff time. They are currently set at a 1-0-1 record for 3 points, -1 goal difference, and number 7 in the NWSL, which I think is one position out of the playoff spots right now. Which, granted, it's 2 weeks in, but still.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think we have to worry about that right now.
No. All right. With that, it is time for the dumping ground.
I'm the trash man.
All right. So, dumping ground, is there anything we'd like to discuss?
Well, since I see you added a new
Yeah, I added a new feature. We're gonna hold off for a minute.
I don't have a lot to mention, but what I will mention is this: is St. Louis has a stadium and NYCFC doesn't.
I mean, that's most teams in the league.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna mention that real quick.
I mean, I saw a picture for a U.S. Open Cup match last night, and while there were no stands on one half of the field itself was better than New York City's.
Is there any more expansion teams coming on the horizon that we know of?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Well, let's just pretend there is. You think they get a new stadium before NYCFC actually gets a stadium built?
Of course.
Because I mean that whole thing in Flushing kind of seemed to, I don't know, die down.
I think you mean flushed down the toilet.
Yes.
So they are saying that that this league is aiming to finalize its 30th team sometime in the first half of this year. Not sure when that will be, but
What's left?
who the fuck knows?
Because I think Sacramento's out, right? I think they tried for Sacramento. It just was not going to be possible.
Yeah.
Oh! I get it. I got it. Vegas, the lights will move to the Raiders, Death Star. There we go. That's my prediction.
You know, that wouldn't surprise me.
It's the only thing I can think of right now.
Let's see. Trying to think of like areas that haven't been touched yet that makes sense. Arizona, unless you have a dome, it's not really worth it.
No.
Maybe New Orleans.
Too hot and humid.
Yeah, but they got the dome there. They could share with the Saints.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. The New Orleans doesn't seem like a real soccer hotbed, though. They love their football. They love their college football.
True. Alabama and Mississippi are really out, so it's not really a good idea.
No, that's Atlanta territory right there anyway.
I don't think it would work now. But Baltimore would make sense at some point. The only reason to say it wouldn't work now is because Baltimore doesn't have a like USL championship side or something like that. They haven't proven that they can host a team to some degree.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like the Northeast corridor, like Baltimore is like the next big city that makes sense. Then you automatically get Philly and DC involved. Oh wait, you know what? Pittsburgh, I think could work.
But they still have to play the same stadium the Riverhounds do.
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's at least different.
Yeah.
They gotta have a penalty. If you kick the ball into the river, you gotta jump in.
I love it. All right, that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, Messi apparently was rumored to be going to Saudi Arabia instead of Miami.
Sweet.
That'd be honestly kind of funny after 3 years of Messi to MLS, and all of a sudden he's joining Ronaldo again.
You'd go where the money goes. That's all.
Yeah. All right, so it's time for our newest segment, the Red Bull F1 update.
That's it. That's our sound effect.
Well, I had to find something short.
No zoom sound.
Well, everything was way too loud. I found the F1 theme that for 12 seconds, but I feel like that was way too long for this.
All right, I'm going to find a sound bite for you. How about that?
For anybody who doesn't know, that's the radio when they lie to listen in.
Yeah, I'm gonna find a better clip for you for next week.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about Australia. If you guessed that I could not stay up for anything, you're absolutely correct. There was no way of that happening. Me waiting for 1 a.m. to watch a race.
Honestly, it's probably a good thing this time because it was a longer race.
It was long. There was 2 red flags. There were cautions. Thank God I recorded because I was able to fast forward through all those red flags.
I think at least 30 minutes. Because I skipped it too, good chunk of it.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I couldn't even imagine staying up for it. But the craziest thing, right, was Checo Perez not even getting out of the first round of qualifying, starting from the pit lane, and I think he's finished second to last.
He was 20th. He started 20th.
Yeah, and then he finished fifth, because that's how good these Red Bull cars are.
And he was up to 16th before the first caution came out too, I think.
Yeah. So I mean that's how good these cars are. Max Verstappen, of course, finished first because once he got past Hamilton. Did you watch the race, Jay?
I did.
I mean,
I think I'm in now at this point.
Yeah, he passed Lewis Hamilton easily. I mean, it was sad when he
once
passed
he got that DRS, it was like, okay, yeah, it's a matter of time.
He gets DRS and he's passed, and he's just gone. He's building up a second and a half lead before a lap.
It was 2 seconds like that.
It's that fast. That's how good they are. But I mean, aside from the red flags, it was a great race if you're able to fast forward. The restart off the red flag and everyone just crashed again. It was something to behold. It really was. But that's what makes it exciting is when you have that red flag towards the end and everyone knows that now it's a sprint to the finish. And you're going to see mayhem in those first few turns. So that was awesome. But no, great watch. I mean, Lewis Hamilton finally got on the podium, which was cool. And Alonso finished third, so he's having a great season. I think there's going to be a lot of exciting things to happen. But hey, both still in first and second.
And Carlos Sainz got a 5-minute penalty before that last restart.
Yeah.
Well, it was not restarted. The safety car lap that ended the race.
Which was also weird. Wasn't that weird to watch?
He was forced to cross in fourth place, but then he got dropped to 12th because of it.
It was so funny, too, because, when they come in and they're like, oh, congratulations, you won. And Max just like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I drove slowly across the checkered flag, so.
I do like the commentator suggesting the Saints try to drop back far enough that he could speed ahead to get a more than 5-second lead on fifth just to overcome it, but that was never going to happen.
But no, it was a good race. They're off this weekend, of course, and then we are heading off to Azerbaijan.
But that's not until the end of the month, so it's actually 3
right.
weekends.
We're a couple weeks, the 28th to the 30th. So we got a couple weekends off, and then we're off to Azerbaijan, which is a great race to watch.
Which apparently I saw something today that they're going to change some stuff at Azerbaijan. So let me see. Okay. So this is how it's going to run. So traditionally, for those of you that don't watch F1, which I was one of them until a few weeks ago, there was 3 practice sessions of an hour each, a 1-hour qualifying session, and then the race, what they call the feature race, or the Grand Prix. I mean, sorry. I put F2 on in the background every once in a while, so I call it feature race instead of the Grand Prix. Apparently what they will now do for the Azerbaijan weekend is on Friday they're going to have a practice session and a qualifying session. Saturday is going to be a sprint qualifying session followed by a sprint race.
Yep.
And then on Sunday there's the regular Grand Prix.
Yeah, so some of the races have the sprint race too. So I think it's 3 or 4 races throughout the year we'll have the sprint.
And the sprint is basically just a shorter version of the race.
Yeah.
So
it shores up some qualifying spots for the main race.
Yeah.
Fun to watch. But yeah, if Jay, if you've never seen Azerbaijan, after the show, you'll want to YouTube that track, and it's tight. It's really tight. You can.
I'll see if ESPN
so many times
has
in that race.
I'll see if ESPN has that the race from last year on it. They probably do, right?
I don't know. But no, it's a good one to watch. It's fun.
Oh, they got castles in the background.
Yeah. It's a street race.
Oh boy. I'm seeing some of these pictures of these tight areas. That'll be fun.
Once you download the Formula One app, which I'm sure you're going to do after we're done recording too, and then you can go to the race and you can tap on the onboard lap, and then you can click on the video and watch them actually do a lap.
Oh, the F1 app does it? Because all I ever hear is the Sky Sports one. I'm like, I guess I can't do it because I'm not a Sky Sports customer.
No, Formula One app. You can actually watch. They'll do a lap on the. You just click on Write a Race, and you'll go right to it. It's really cool.
Huh. Guess I'll have to check that out.
Yep. I'm just going to send it to you right now. So that's what you're going to do when you're done with the show.
All right. With that, let's go to our last segment of the show. It's time for Truman's Terrible Team of the Week.
That's terrible.
Montreal lost 5-0 to Vancouver, which is absolutely brutal. The problem was getting a red card in the 23rd minute and then giving up 5 goals.
Yeah, it does that.
Yeah, so not a recipe for success for Montreal, but I mean, really, it's Montreal, and how much success have you seen them recently? Not a lot.
No. All right. I think that's it. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up?
Oh, yeah. One more thing. NYCFC does not have a stadium since last we talked about it.
I feel like we should just
we'll check it next
segment
week.
on the show.
Check it next week.
Yeah, every week. Does New York City have a stadium yet? All right. Let's wrap this one up. You can visit us at patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. $1 a month gets you exclusive content such as monthly wrap-ups, live post games, anything we decide to do. And patrons, just so you know, Truman and I will be recording the February/March wrap-up next week. So keep your eye out for next week. We'll be there. You can email us, redbullrant@gmail.com. If you want to call us, 973-348-5329. Facebook.com/Red Bull Rant. On Twitter, at Red Bull Rant for the show, at Dr. Stoosh for myself, at The Truman for Truman. Subscribe to our show via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube Music, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. Last words before we get out of here.
I'll keep it simple. Just prove us wrong. Prove Jay and I wrong. And win.
Yep. All right. For Truman and myself, this has been episode 424 of the Red Bull Rant. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, go Red Bulls.
See you later.